Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, Louisiana last night, not a lot of people knew this, but they actually had an election for their governorship, which is currently held by Democrats, but the Democrat that's been there, John Bel Edwards, he won in 2019 by a few points, and he's now outgoing, and it does seem as if this seat was supposed to be an instant flip. We get that, but it wasn't supposed to be an outright flip in the jungle primary. But last night, Republicans went out there and they dominated the Democrats, even by Louisiana standards, and they flipped the governorship outright. There doesn't even need to be a runoff, which means more resources can be poured in Kentucky and Virginia, which is a positive sign to come. But Democrats just embarrassed themselves ultimately up and down the ticket, and it was kind of beautiful to watch. And it does seem as if, yeah, this is not going to be super indicative of 2024, because turnout's lower and all that, but still we hear people on the other side say, well, this special election here that had like 10% turnout proves that Democrats are energized. But when you see an election with much higher turnout than that, well, Republicans were the ones energized in Louisiana. And it also shows that when you have a competent state party, you could do a lot of good. And this is crazy, especially given the fact it was held on a Saturday. It was held on a Saturday where LSU's playing. I mean, a lot of people probably care a lot more about college football than voting, but still, Republicans had a very good showing nonetheless, despite all of that. And as a result, there doesn't even need to be any effort poured into the election come November. And Jeff Landry is the new governor. He is not some rhino. He is probably one of the best finds Republicans could have had in the state. He's a very good attorney general. Donald Trump endorsed him. He's going to get no credit from a lot of the same people that are going to blame him for Kentucky, despite Kentucky not being Trump's fault. But regardless, who knows? Maybe after that performance, we're going to be triumphant in Kentucky for all we know. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but the odds, I think, increase slightly, especially as you see Republican strength being higher in a state like Louisiana than expected. And you look at how much the Republicans combined for. They combined for like 70% because there's a lot of candidates. Jeff Landry won outright. He was not supposed to. And you could look at the polls. He outperformed all of the polls. He was at 40% in some of the polls. The most recent polls that were conducted, he got 52%. And the Democrat didn't really perform much higher than the polls had him at. They had him in the, early to mid-20s, and that's exactly what he got. And you're looking at this, and it's like, this is a massive win. And you're talking about even these ancestrally Democrat counties where Republicans are combining for 50% of the vote. And it's just insane to see there, because even in the midterms where Democrats really didn't contest the Senate seat, they weren't really getting these numbers, but Republicans were. So it's a very, very good thing to see there. They won West Baton Rouge Parish outright. Usually you don't do that as a Republican. And in the lieutenant governor's election, where you have an incumbent Republican, Republicans combined for almost 80% of the vote in this primary, which is absolutely huge. Even in New Orleans Parish, New Orleans, that's like the city of New Orleans, heavily Democrat. The Republicans still got 41% there and got an overwhelming majority in East Baton Rouge Parish, which is where Baton Rouge is, which is where LSU is. So you're looking at this big picture here. Republicans overwhelmingly doing very, very well. There are some runoffs for some of these other statewide offices where you had a little bit more of a crowded field. So there will be an election for these taking place in a couple of weeks. But either way, Republicans are going to clear. And it does seem as if they finally get this election drought off their back. I know it's Louisiana. I know it's probably not super indicative of 2024. I don't think that you could even say that 2022 in many cases is going to be super indicative of 2024, but still, the sheer overperformance that we saw was impressive, and it does show that if you have a competent state Republican Party, you can get a lot of things done electorally. We'll see what's going to happen in Kentucky. I don't have high hopes there. But Virginia, it's possible that Republicans could go out there and take the state Senate which would basically guarantee that Virginia would be able to function as a Republican state in every single way, shape, or form. They have all the statewide offices. They have the state house. They got to hold it. And if they get the state Senate, they could actually get to work and start terraforming the state even more than they've already been doing. So we love to see that on that front. But Louisiana, still, this is a very good thing. Say hello to one of the best governors in the country, because that's what you get in Jeff Landry. You had a fake moderate Democrat before. I mean, he was relatively pro-life, but other than that, he was not really all that conservative socially. And he was kind of like a figurehead to a certain degree, but now you get somebody that could actually get to work and lead Louisiana the way that Louisiana should be led. And it's also crazy that he won outright, which a lot of people didn't expect. A lot of people thought he'd get like in the 40s, the low 40s, and then, yeah, he would win the runoff, and we would kind of gauge where the final margin would be for that. But you're looking at the final margin here. This is a Trump plus 20 state. Republicans altogether combined for roughly, almost 70% of the voters. So they had an absolute beatdown. And it wasn't just at the governor's race, because you look down ballot, there were plenty of state Senate seats where you saw Republicans vastly overperform. And when you look at the raw numbers of it, it's crazy. You had Biden plus 8 districts flipping Republican, and they went Republican by 30 points or more. This is crazy. We love to see it. It kind of just shows the realignment is continuing, because, yeah, it's not the highest turnout election, but a lot of the elections that the other side is touting for the blue wave of 2024, not going to happen, by the way, are also far lower turnout than this election, to the point where if they're able to extrapolate from that, or some random House district in the middle of New Hampshire that nobody cares about, there's a lot more to extrapolate here that's positive. And yeah, we'll see what happens in Kentucky. Obviously, it's very difficult to take out any incumbent governor. We'll see what happens in Virginia. I think that is honestly more winnable in terms of the state Senate for Republicans there, especially because Republicans in Virginia have been more competent. But still, this is a good thing. This is a victory. You saw a massive overperformance by Republicans in a state, even compared to past overperformances of Republicans in that state. And you see somebody like Jeff Landry become governor outright, which is very good, because Jeff Landry is an actual conservative. Jeff Landry is very solid. This is a victory for Trump, even because he was Trump's candidate and he won outright. And this is just a victory for the state of Louisiana at large, which is a very good thing. And the overperformances were just insane. The lieutenant governor's race, that's crazy. And we talk about the incumbency factor. This kind of proves the incumbency factor working in real time. And you're going to probably have to deal with that in the opposite way come Kentucky, in terms of having an uphill climb, an uphill battle there. But overall, this is still very impressive overperformance by Republicans. We'll see what happens later this year. I will say the good thing about this for later this year is the fact that you will not have to spend as many resources on this race as you ordinarily would have had to spend had this gone to a runoff. So Jeff Landry winning outright may also potentially help you in Virginia, help you in Kentucky. We'll still have to see what happens there. But still, I wanted to tell you guys about this news because most people just didn't know this was going on. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle out.